So, measurements, make sure all your notes are dated. So today is the 13th. Now, the first section, or the first characteristic of matter that we're going to deal with, well, the three of them are mass, volume, and length. Now, the definition of matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. So obviously, I say taking up space as I underline the word volume. So your definition of volume is the amount of space something takes up. Volume will be the focus of our lab tomorrow. And you're going to find the volume of two different objects, and for each one, two different ways. Mass is the amount of stuff that is there. I know that sounds a little weird, but all matter is made up of atoms. Okay, we haven't really talked about atoms in too much detail at all, but the amount of stuff we usually classify with the term gram. Okay, how many grams of matter you have. So it's really the amount of stuff you have. Okay, length is simply a measurement of distance, and it is often looked upon as, you know, from point A to point B. Okay, what is that? All three of these are things that we can measure. Okay. Do we need additional time to write this down? Good. So, when it comes to mass, the unit, okay, that we use is the gram. Now, a unit is it's a title, or it's a characteristic of something. If you walk into a store and you say, or you walk into a restaurant and you say, I want 5, what's the first thing that you're thinking of? 5 what? Okay, I want 5 sandwiches, I want 5 sodas, I want 5 bags of chips, I want 5 bottles of water. Okay, bottles of water, chips, sandwiches, those are all units. So there are characteristics that define the number. What I want is 5 of this. If I just say 5, it doesn't mean anything. And that's the same thing. When you guys show your calculations in class, understand that if your numbers don't have units behind them, it's automatically wrong even if the number's right, because a number means nothing. Okay, I need to have number and units. Okay, a unit for mass is grams. The unit for volume is liter. And the unit for length is meter. Now, these units are not the same as units that we use in the United States. Okay? We don't use the term gram that often. What do we use? Pound. Now, understand that pound is a unit of weight, not mass. So even though we try to say pounds and pounds and kilograms, more like it, but a pound or an ounce and grams are equivalent or similar, they're not. They're actually measures of two different things. Okay? We know what mass is. Mass is the amount of stuff you have. Who can tell me what weight is? Yeah.
It's like a gravity's pull.
It's gravity's pull on that mass. right? So I mean, I have a mass. My weight is determined by how hard the Earth is pulling on me. Okay. Now that's why you can go to, and sorry, since the weight is dependent on the gravitational pull, what has a stronger gravitational pull, the Earth or the Moon? The Earth. Why? Because it's larger. Okay. The larger the mass of an object, okay, the harder the pull it will be. So I weigh 230 pounds. Okay, on Earth. On the moon, I'll weigh much less because the moon is not as massive as the Earth is. But my mass will not change. My mass, I don't happen to know what my mass is off the top of my head, but if my mass is, say, 200 kilograms, okay, just off the top of my head, say 200 kilograms, whether it's on Earth or it's on the moon, it's going to be the same thing. So, with a gram, okay, that is what we call an SI unit, or a standard unit of measure. This is for the metric system. Liter is also for the metric system, as is meter. So let's go ahead and go. These are metric units. We will not be doing anything other than metric units, okay? For a very good reason. When we start talking about dimensional analysis, you'll see why. It just makes things a lot easier. But liter is the metric unit for volume. What we call the English unit? We use English units in this country. Okay. What do we use to determine the amount of space something takes up? Gallons. Okay. Gallons, fluid ounces, quarts, pints. Those are all units of volume for this country. Pretty much everywhere else in the world uses liters and derivatives of that. Okay. Length. We use. The world uses meter. What do we use? Feet, inches, miles. Okay. The conversions or the equivalencies, meaning 1 meter is equal to this many feet or this many inches, they're never nice, easy numbers. They're always confusing. So we won't really worry about that too much until we get to dimensional analysis next week. Okay. So, any questions on this? Now, the excuse me, the different, I guess we could say, offshoots of these units that we're going to be dealing with. Okay, so let's go ahead and say a liter. Okay, which is abbreviated with a capital L. We have small units, such as milliliter and centiliter. And then we have large units. Now, when I say small and large, that's in relation to liter. Okay, if something's larger than a liter, smaller than a liter. Okay, the large units that we'll deal with, kiloliter, mainly kiloliter. You may, on small units, it's called a microliter. Okay. Now, the exact equivalencies of this you don't really need to worry about right now. I just want you to be aware that they exist. That way you don't take all of your measurements in liters. Because tomorrow when we look at our lab, we're actually going to be looking at this unit over anything else. Okay. Like I said, when you look at your lab tonight, you'll have a little cylinder, a little metal cylinder. It can't be bigger than probably your pinky finger. We're not going to use such a large unit like liters to measure that. We'll use milliliters. Or another unit that is also a volume unit is cubic centimeters. Now, a cubic centimeter and a milliliter, they are equal to each other. It's just usually when we're trying to find the volume of solid objects, we often use cubic centimeters. When we're looking at the volume of a liquid object or a gas sample, okay, then we'll use milliliters. Okay? Sound good? Okay, like I said, it's pretty basic. Most of you have had something very similar to this in the past, so I just wanted to hit on one last time. Now, keep in mind, milli, centi, micro, kilo, they have the same meaning, and we can use them in different places. Just like there's milliliters, there's milligrams, and there's millimeters. Just like there's centiliters, there's centigrams, and there's centiliters. Just like there's kiloliters, there's kilograms and kilometers, okay, or kilometers, if you would. All right.